We can discuss.
Okay. One of the things to talk about. Jacob, are you free after Jessica's show? Generally speaking. Yes. Okay. All right. At a certain point, we're gonna have to have Jacob. Some sort free of after Jessica's show.
A meeting?
Yeah. Some sort of a meeting.
I love a meeting.
Yeah. Off-season meeting to figure out what the hell this show is going forward.
It's always fun.
I also need to trick Mike into taking us to lunch again.
I know it's been a while.
Yeah, he didn't do it last year.
We haven't tricked anyone into a lunch in a minute.
He didn't do it last year.
And we gotta trick him into going someplace nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's nice for lunch? Also, nobody wants to travel out east.
No, I was gonna say we did Coastal on Easter, and it made me think of our one Coastal meal that we did.
We did Coastal in J. Alexander?
No, we did Houston.
Houston's, that's what it was.
R.I.P.
We did Bishop.
We did Bishop. That's not here anymore.
Oh, rip.
The thing is so many of these places aren't open for lunch. We might have to do like a happy hour.
Okay.
I mean, twist my arm. We could do.
If we have to.
Lobbyist, Amelia Jean's, Catherine and Mary's, Felicia Suzanne's. Any of those.
Okay. Who's got good food?
All of them.
And a lot of food.
All of them.
Okay. All right. I'm down. If Mike is listening, Mike, we're coming for your wallet. Let's go.
Company card.
let's get it. What was the song today?
What was the song today? Oh, it was a Taylor Swift song.
Oh.
The One. And I kind of liked it.
How does that go?
I'm doing good, I'm on some new, been saying yes instead of no. I thought I saw you at the bus stop, I didn't though.
Okay, I'm unfamiliar.
Yeah, I kind of was too. Like I knew it, but I didn't know it.
And it's on your playlist.
Have you not learned yet?
No, I haven't.
Just add things.
Oh my gosh.
I just add things. But it was a good song, because at first it popped up and I was like, oh, we might have a delete. And I was like, no, I kind of like this.
All right.
Yeah, keep it.
Have you put your vote in?
I put my vote in. Oh no, what's the vote?
We're settling this.
Oh.
We're gonna figure out how we're gonna refer to the fans of this show.
No.
Yes.
You have to give the people their choice.
No.
They get to choose how they identify.
No, we're not doing that.
What's up, everybody? It is Monday, May 5th. It is going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass coming up on today's show. 2 Game 7s in the NBA over the weekend. Had 2 Game 7s in NHL as well. But the second round is set in the NBA playoffs, and the Memphis Grizzlies officially have their new head coach, Tuomas Iisalo. The interim tag removed. We will discuss what that means for the Grizzlies going forward. Gary Parrish will join us about 40 minutes in. We will chat with him about the Grizzlies' decision and all things NBA playoffs. It is a 2-hour show day, so we will use the extra time to talk about the WNBA preseason. Caitlin Clark Mania is back. We will do some Hot Mess Express. We will get the week started right. You know what we say. Let's go. It's been a while. Let's go. That's kind of lame. Let's go.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Let's face talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board. A class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
I got some Cam Ward news for you, by the way.
Let me hear it.
You talk about being able to sell some jerseys. 7 minutes ago at his introductory press conference in Nashville, Warren Moon walks in. I give you permission to wear number 1. Young guy.
Wow.
He hands him the number 1 jersey.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm going to give you permission to wear number 1. So he's going to have the number 1 Cam Ward jersey.
That's amazing.
We rocking the Cam Ward number 1 Titans jersey.
That's amazing.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
The other thing that came out this week that we were talking about innovation and Nike and all that, they dropped these $900 hyper boots that
900.
I mean, they're a recovery shoe apparently that you wear after sports, whatever.
Who's buying it? Because all the athletes that we see, they're going to get seated this. So who's going to actually pay $900 for this?
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
How about Mr. Irrelevant coming from the Memphis Tigers? Yeah, how about that? New England Patriots
Second
took
time.
Memphis defensive back Kobe Minor with the 257th overall pick.
If you're the player getting drafted at that spot, it's almost better to go undrafted and pick a place as an undrafted free agent to sign with where you have a better chance.
But you get a lot of stuff. You get a parade. I think you go to Disneyland, I believe.
Mr. Irrelevant goes to Disney?
I think so.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We're going to do our pick 6 favorite Outkast songs in honor of Outkast being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Elevators is the most creative.
Me and you.
Yes. Your mama and your cousin too.
Every time I hear somebody say me and you, I
just go to the next one, right?
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what it's all about. Cause I deserve this feeling, have it my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Listen, the Memphis Grizzlies have a new head coach, but we already were familiar with him. The NBA action over the weekend was wild. We have a ton to get into, but I did want to start with a shout out to how I spent my weekend here in Memphis, which was at the RiverBeat Music Festival, second year of RiverBeat down on the river at Tom Lee Park. And CJ, I hate to say it because you were not able to join us this year.
Don't rub it in.
It absolutely ruled. It was so good. I spent Friday, Saturday, and Sunday there, and I genuinely believe that RiverBeat is one of the most underrated music festivals in this country, and I am willing to predict that in the next 2 to 5 years, it becomes a part of the mainstay circuit, like the main music festivals. It's so good. The cost is unbeatable. Like, when I was walking home on Friday after seeing the Missy Elliott set that she had also done at Coachella and thinking it was a $200 ticket for the whole weekend, and when you think about how much those other festivals cost, I just couldn't shut up about it. I'd also had 4 Sky Dogs. But I was just really, really excited about what we had just seen. But like the cost, the setup, the venue is awesome. This is their second year doing it under the Mempho Fest umbrella and the people who run Mempho Fest. And it's just so well organized. And there were way more people this year. Like the crowd size increase was definitely notable, but it was a crowd size increase that felt good from the sheer number of people, because when you're at a festival, you want there to be a lot of people. That's how these things work. But it's not overbearing. It's not claustrophobic. You always had the ability to move pretty freely between stages. Even if you were staying long at one set and moving to the other, you could get a pretty good standing spot and a good viewpoint no matter, like what time you were getting there. It just fills the space really well. It's clean. And then the lineup. Like, it's always going to be about the lineup. That's what a festival's for. That Friday was perfect. The whole thing was great. Like, everybody top to bottom. But Friday specifically, starting with Steve Aoki played at like 5:15, which is absurd to see Steve Aoki in the daylight. Like, it feels borderline illegal. You should be seeing Steve Aoki at 5 a.m., not 5 p.m. And he's caking people. Like, are you familiar with the caking of Steve Aoki?
I saw some videos of it.
Well, I thought we were in a recession, but he had like 20 cakes to throw.
Well, let them eat cake
It did feel very let them eat cake. And the guy from Florida Georgia Line was here. They had filmed that music video at Silky's that afternoon. They were clearly launching something. But Steve Aoki took a crowd that was like pretty dead. Like a starter crowd at a music festival is a little dead. It needs some time to warm up. And by the end of that set, people are getting caked in the face. I can't imagine being caked at 5 o'clock and then having to have cake all over you for the next however many hours.
Like
I got a little bit on my jeans, but like not to the point where it was
How close were you?
Oh, I was like,
you were in it.
Like 6 rows back. Yeah, we were in it. How
violent is the cake throw?
He has great aim. And it's not,
so he's throwing the cake into the crowd at people.
And like people get on shoulders and people have signs that say like cake me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a whole bit.
Okay.
But it's supposed to be in the wee hours of the morning at a club, not at 5 o'clock in a park.
And now you're just walking around
fully
caked
out,
up.
and now you're just there. But anyway, so it started with him, and then Busta Rhymes was the next big act. And Busta is aging, but he's still got it. Like fulfilling the life dream of getting to try to rap along with his verse to Look at Me Now was a beautiful thing. That took us to Ludacris. Ludacris was my favorite set of the entire night. Ludacris has nothing but hits. Like every single song Ludacris played, everybody was singing along to. You had Act a Fool, Area Codes, Moneymaker, My Chick Bad, How Low, What's Your Fantasy, Move, but then also he did all of his features. No! Maybe not all of them, but like I got to hear Justin Bieber's Baby with Ludacris doing his part in 2025, and the crowd.
He did the Yeah feature?
He did Yeah, and he did Glamorous. Let's go! That was like, so by that point, you already feel like you've had a really great night.
At that point, you a couple of drinks in.
Yeah, a couple.
You got some cake on you as well. Bit. So you're turnt.
I'm turnt.
Okay.
And then that takes you to Missy Elliott, who is the headliner for Friday. And it's not like I've been to every single music festival in the history of Memphis, so I don't want to speak definitively. I would like to guess that it was probably the highest production value of a set at a music festival in Memphis ever. Like the sets, the costumes, the setup. She did a whole drone show over the river, like associated. It was just, I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And Missy Elliott, I'm suddenly looking up how old she is just because I'm enamored by the fact that she can still, 52 years old. Like Busta Rhymes, I think he's 53, felt 53. No disrespect, but like you feel like you're watching a legend who is resting a lot on the fact that you loved his music growing up at a certain period of time. Missy Elliott is making art.
Rappers are different in that way, right? Like some rappers, Jay-Z talked about this when he had to tour with DMX. He was the headliner. DMX is just running up and down all over the stage, doing all this stuff, working the crowd up. And he comes down and is like, okay, I guess I just got to hit you with this flow and these bars. So I'm going to stand in this one spot. I'm going to turn the music off. I'm going to just flow. Busta Rhymes is that way also, where his flow is so unique, one of the best, if not the best flows in all of rap. So he doesn't need necessarily to be up on stage, working it and doing the Missy stuff. He just needs to stand in front of the microphone, spit, let you try and rhyme with them, and it's still a good time.
Missy's going like from a spaceship to these like really bright neon.
At one point, did she have 2 stages? Like, was it a double-decker stage?
And it came out, too, like into the audience. And by the time she's doing Lose Control, you're just like, oh my God, that was one of the most spectacular things that I've ever witnessed.
Is that how
also,
it
the
closed?
chat is making, Ludacris did do Holiday Inn. I'm sorry. And it was, I'm telling you, Luda could have gone for like, there are some sets where you're watching and an hour and a half feels a little bit excessive. Luda could have gone 2 hours and then everybody would have eaten every bit of it up. So that was all Friday. If I had two things to tweak, Friday's lineup was so heavily stacked, it was difficult for the entirety of the next 2 days to level up to it.
Well, you had to bring the people out and bring the energy
and it
with
worked.
them. Yeah.
And word of mouth, I think, passed on too, where people then showed up on Saturday and Sunday who didn't maybe have plans to get out there. And then I would have put the DJ sets at the end of the night. Like if Steve Aoki had come after Missy Elliott, because some music fests do that, like where you put a DJ set on at midnight and the real diehards or the people who are into EDM go to that. I would have loved Steve Aoki there. And then Galantis performed on Sunday afternoon, again in daylight for a DJ set. I would have put Galantis at the end of Saturday after the Killers.
Is Memphis a DJ set city?
Yes, enough of it. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a DJ set city, but I think it was enough where if you switch that around, and I think there's a curfew issue, which is probably why that's actually not something that's done, but just a vibe-wise, like people got up for it. Like the crowd was good, but it is not
the DJ,
in nature.
the big DJ last year, big EDM last
Odessa.
year? Odessa.
And people travel for Odessa's at the peak of their...
What was the crowd like for
Huge.
Odessa? Okay.
But that was I think last year Odessa, between the Fugees and Lauryn Hill coming, like that drew a lot of people. And then with the Fugees and Lauryn Hill, there was the question of like, is she gonna show up? I think Odessa was the one who brought the most people from out of town. And I think for this year, Missy did that, but the Killers on Saturday night, which was the Saturday headliner. So back in it on Saturday, went to Cage the Elephant, went to Public Enemy.
Jacob said Cage the Elephant was
both were
remarkable.
great. And seeing Flavor Flav was just like such a fun experience. Like just having been in a place where he's made this evolution, but going back to his roots and why he's actually famous outside of Flavor of Love, outside of what he's done as an Olympian, not an Olympian, but a Olympic supporter and what he's done for women's sports in the last year or whatnot. But just seeing him is a very cool thing. And then the Killers was so good. Like from the very beginning, they start with Somebody Told Me and it just sets it on a 10. And then it just stays up there. And by the time you get to Mr. Brightside at the end...
Were there beach balls involved? Because
I don't think there were beach balls involved.
Song, I think, beach balls are perfect for this song.
No. But it did get me thinking of all the people who have made the, like, Mr. Brightside should be the Sweet Caroline of our generation. My only issue with that is our generation, at least some of us rational, level-headed people, have grown to hate Sweet Caroline. I never want people to hate Mr. Brightside. I never want it to lose its luster.
I think,
man, it just does something to your
I think
soul.
it's okay. That's the whole point of having a song for a generation. The other generations aren't supposed to get it. They are supposed to become annoyed by it.
Oh yeah, technically they started with Great Balls of Fire. Sorry, Jacob pointed out in the chat. Nice little Memphis ode and setting the
and then they went into Somebody Told Me or whatever.
Yeah, it was so good. And then you wrap it all up on Sunday, and to be 33 years old and going to day 3 of a 3-day music festival, like. Something's got to drag you out of bed at that point. And I got work on Monday, which is a whole other piece of it. But we got down there for Galantis. Benson Boone, fresh off. Benson Boone did SNL on Saturday night. Yeah. And I think he just continues to grow into like one of the most popular people in music right now. That was the essence. Like all the young girls love Benson Boone. Like they have not, like teens. Okay. The teens were out. But also like, really young. Like it reminded of me, of my love for NSYNC when I was but a baby. And now these children are coming in and they're like, oh, Benson Boone, flip again. And I think he flipped 4 times, but he's got the charisma, he's got the riz, as the kids say. And he was out there in his like white wife beater, looking very Freddie Mercury-like on the river. He holds a crowd. I'm willing to say he's growing on me. I still think he gives major youth pastor vibes, but that's okay. He is talented, he can sing, he can put on a show. And then after him, it was Kuringbin. I can never pronounce it right, I'm sorry, but they were great. And then Anderson .Paak and the Free Nationals ended the night. And I wish that I could have stayed for the entirety of Anderson .Paak. We stayed like a half hour. He's awesome. Like everyone was, bottom line, they got real acts, and that's why I believe in the future of this festival. And so many people not from Memphis were really positive. Like the people that I spoke to, a couple from other countries, but then people who traveled here from, various cities. There was a couple from LA in front of me in line. And they're like, I just can't believe more people in Memphis don't come to this. And I was like, I think they will. Like, it's still fairly new, and you put a new label on something and people just don't know what to expect. But you have something like that. No one can say anything bad about it. True. I mean, I'm sure people find ways to complain. But from a general standpoint, it was safe. People were downtown. People were having a great time downtown. And you know how I feel about downtown Memphis and my love for it. So it felt good. Felt like a good weekend.
Was downtown a buzz?
Yes.
Okay.
It felt so good, CJ. The people were down here. The line for bagels on Sunday was like 20 people deep. At Hive. Shout out Hive. I love Hive forever. Anyway, I look forward to seeing how it continues to grow. Shout out RiverBeat. Lots to get into today. The Grizzlies hired their new head coach. It is now their former interim head coach, but the interim tag was removed on Friday. So Tuomas Iisalo is it. Fair to call it an afternoon news dump, CJ. A Friday afternoon news dump. I think that is the epitome of a Friday. All the Grind City media shows were done for the day. A lot of people were already focused on their weekend. And you add in the fact that it was far and away not only not the biggest NBA story of the day, but not the biggest NBA coaching story of the day, because earlier on Friday, it became announced that Greg Popovich was stepping down and retiring from being head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. And so that news hits, and everywhere is flooded with Popovich stories, which were so fun to hear throughout the weekend, both on the court and off the court, and just like who he was as a man. I could not get enough of it. I'm sorry. Who he is as a man.
Popovich is still alive.
I did not mean to bury Greg Popovich.
He's now the president of the Spurs basketball organization.
He still has things to do.
All right,
just not the head
coach. He's
not
a hit. Please don't kill that man off.
Thank you. I'm not ready for that either. And that was my one. I wish that he would have had the opportunity to do the traditional, like, on your way out tour, but I don't think he would have wanted it.
There we go.
And I think if he had really wanted it, they would have found a way to make it work, but he's not that kind of guy. So you spend about an hour wondering, okay, well, who's going to be the successor of Greg Popovich? Is it going to be Michael Malone? Is it going to be Budenholzer? Is it finally going to be Becky Hammon? And then that gets squashed real quick because the Spurs end up promoting their interim coach, Mitch Johnson, into the head coaching spot. And then around, like, I don't know where it was specifically in the timeline of the day, but maybe like an hour later, a couple hours later, the Grizzlies just casually slide out the, hey, our new head coach is Tuomas Iisalo. No more interim, moving right along. And then next thing you know, it's Game 6 between the Warriors and the Rockets. And so from the general like news cycle, it didn't get a ton of play. I was not surprised by the method at which it was announced, and I certainly wasn't surprised that it was announced.
Admittedly.
Okay.
Frustrated.
You were frustrated.
Frustrated.
Explain.
I needed them viewership numbers, dog.
Oh, I know.
I saw that. I was like, oh, just make that announcement at 8:01. Let us get that bump. That's all I wanted. That is it. Whatever. Hire a coach, whatever.
Selfishly?
I don't care. But just do all of your moves at like 8:17 so we can get that viewership bump.
I also would have taken it like another week out. If we were going to wait this long, like as we get further into the offseason, you know, we could have at least flirted with the notion of some coaches' interviews. Like, ooh, feelers are out. Is this person perhaps the answer? The reason I'm not frustrated outside of, yes, I agree with CJ, it would have been a great bump. Also having to go into RiverBeat on Friday with everybody wanting to ask about the hire was a little bit of a frustrating, I just needed a break from the work situation, right? But I'm not frustrated because this was going to happen. And I dare to say this was always going to happen. Maybe not always, I won't go that far, but I do think this is something that has been expected. And I know people wanted to downplay the words of Ja, Jaren, and Dez coming out of exit interviews last weekend by just saying, like, that's the sign of mature players. What are they supposed to do? It really felt like a stamp, an official stamp, as close to that as you can get. And I do think it was intentional to give a week between the season ending, the sweep by the Thunder, exit interviews. You add a week, and it kind of takes away from the immediacy of the, oh, we just had to watch Coach Iisalo get swept by the Thunder, and the frustrations of fans coming out of that Game 4, especially with the infamous never use a challenge, challenges don't roll over into next year. And it kind of gave a buffer zone there, and you do throw it out on a Friday. But I would assume that this was a decision that was pretty close to assured when they made the choice to move on from Taylor Jenkins in the middle of the season. Like, CJ, do you think that there was anything Tuomas Iisalo could have done to not end up in the spot where we're talking about him as the next head coach once he took over for that final 15 games?
No, because they baked it in there that the excuse was always going to be, hey, he just got here, so we got to give him a proper look, outside of nothing on the court could have been done. Something scandalous off the court maybe, but nothing on the court would have stopped that from happening. They went out there, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they handpick this guy?
Yes, and paid for him.
And forced him onto the current coach's staff?
That's one way to put it.
Oh, well, that's what else do we say? Taylor Jenkins had a staff. They said, hey, you got to fire these coaches. Oh, and by the way, we're making an assistant coach hire for you. Now, those two may have gotten along while he was on staff. That's neither here nor there for what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this was somebody handpicked by somebody not the current, at the time, Grizzlies coach to be on staff, somebody who's coming over with a bunch of basketball acclaim from overseas, somebody who, I can't remember who reported this, but I think turned down a head coaching job with the Wizards to be assistant coach here, something like that.
If the Grizzlies did not get him, he would have been on another NBA staff.
So,
unclear which one, but he was sought after, highly sought after.
And yeah, this is when they made the decision to let Taylor Jenkins go, and then when they made the decision to roll with interim coach Tuomas Iisalo, it was, okay, this is their guy. No matter what happens, that he'll be the coach. Which, all right, if that's what y'all want, you got it. I just don't want this to be another one of those doubling down, either on purpose or inadvertently. When last I heard from the Grizzlies management team, the general manager of the front office, or the face of the front office, I was told uncomfortable conversations were going to be happening. So if he can do it, great.
Right.
I don't know if he can, because I'm not a part of those meetings. But if you're saying to me, this is a guy who can have the uncomfortable conversations with the players who you need to have them with, cool. Part of having uncomfortable conversations, though, is making uncomfortable decisions. Yeah, it would have been messed up to bring him over here and then say, hey, you know what? Yeah, no, we're not going to roll with you with head coach. That would be an uncomfortable decision to make. We think we can go out there and get somebody a bit better for what this team needs. That's an uncomfortable decision. So I will say, if you're going to have uncomfortable conversations, that's going to lead to uncomfortable decisions. I'm not sure if this was an uncomfortable decision. Also, I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. I'll give them a season and a half, 2 seasons to see.
If you want to have an uncomfortable conversation with it, I think, one, it is entirely fair to be neutral about this coaching decision. Not too hot, not too cold, go Goldilocks with it, stay in the middle. Because, yes, you can rationally say he was put in an incredibly difficult position where you end up coaching 15 games and there's only 2 practices and there's other stuff outside of official practices. But that is difficult no matter how you put it around. And you were already inheriting a defense that had fallen absolutely off a cliff and a team that was just in turmoil. But I will put it up against what happened in Denver after, because the Grizzlies were not the only team that fired a coach in the middle of the season. The Nuggets did it too. And what did I see the Nuggets do this weekend? The Nuggets won a Game 7 and made it to the second round. Now, David Adelman, interim head coach, we have joked that Nikola Jokic is also operating as a pseudo player coach. That can all work. But I do want to point out, from the Grizzlies' perspective of this, you have a direct example of an interim head coach who took over a team, and that team is now playing in the second round of the Western Conference playoffs. Now, yes, it's a team that has won a championship, and I think what it really does is illuminate from the Nuggets' perspective, it really was about just making a coaching change. And we've had this conversation. With the Grizzlies, it was not just about making a coaching change. There has to be more that changes within the entirety of this group. The Grizzlies were not good enough, plain and simple. The Nuggets, they might just be good enough. They just needed a different leader at the helm for this season.
That's my thought on them also, right? If we're going to compare the rosters, the Nuggets roster to the Grizzlies roster, it's the Nuggets roster is better. I think the Nuggets roster is significantly better. I think most people think the Nuggets roster is significantly better. So that might be a case where one coach has better talent to work with than the other coach. But again, they made their coaching change. They had begun their slide, and boom, coaching change, slide stops. And they, if I'm not mistaken, they improved their seed. No, they do improve their seed position. That's why they get Game 7 at home, right? They improve their seed position enough to get a Game 7 in the first round at home.
And you
then
also
they go
have
out
Nikola
there
Jokic.
And ball out, and Jokic is an MVP. They have an MVP, and the Grizzlies have an all-star slash
Two
all
all-stars.
D. Ja wasn't an all-star. Was he?
Yeah.
He was? Okay.
Yeah.
All-stars was so long ago. Two all-stars.
Not this year, but
Okay, this year. They have one. Who was John an all-star this year?
no.
Okay, so they have one all-star.
Yeah, but once you're an all-star, you're an all-star
No,
forever.
Damn that. So Ben Simmons is still an all-star?
Yeah, technically, and then
you
it's
can-
disappointing with how it falls off.
You can get out of here with all of that. You're
Ben
an
Simmons is at
all-star
home.
You're an all-star for that season. So you got an all-star and maybe an all-NBA defensive select, maybe, on the Grizzlies right now. And so, like, that's it. If we go for the history of their NBA careers, fine. You've got a couple of all-stars. You've got an all-defensive player. You've got an NBA All-Pro. And the Nuggets have a couple of all-stars. They also have an MVP. And that's the difference in what the Nuggets are and what the Grizzlies are right now. They have an MVP and the Grizzlies don't.
But also, even when they don't have, because it's not like the Nuggets are some incredibly deep team, but the players that they've needed, especially in the playoffs where you go, you trust 7?
7 or 8. Yeah.
7 or 8?
Yeah.
Like Christian Brown has stepped up in a way that
I forgot.
player like that
The Nuggets
did.
have,
Aaron Gordon.
Nuggets have 2 MVPs. Because Russell Westbrook, damn it.
Right, of course.
Because once you're MVP,
But that's the
Jessica,
thing.
you're always MVP. But yeah.
Russ, Gordon, Brown, like those guys were so critical for the Nuggets in being able to get that win. All that said, the rest is still unwritten as it pertains to Tuomas Iisalo. We will
Natasha?
quote Natasha. Natasha was with some soccer team over the weekend. I don't follow close enough, so I don't know who it was. But she was literally singing one of her songs with them in the locker room. I think they got promoted. Oh, nice. Yeah, I know. It looked like the dream come true. But it really is unwritten with Tuomas Iisalo. And the rest of, now that this gets done, I wanted it to get done fast. I think the team clearly wanted it to get done fast, just not fast enough to have it be announced at exit interviews, even though it was probably already set in stone. Because now you have the situation where once the playoffs end, teams can negotiate with their own players who have deals on the line. So you have Jaren, whatever it turns out to be with the All-NBA selection or not, depending on how that goes with his contract situation. Santi Aldama, even someone like a Cam Spencer. Like those get decided upon, and you want your head coach firmly in place to be able to start whatever next year looks like holistically.
Yeah, because the coach has a system and he knows the type of players that he wants for that system. So if you're out here signing guys before you get the coach that aren't necessarily going to fit with the system, then that can be a bit of a bugaboo for said coach. It looks like, just my best guess, I'd be curious to know what you think about it, Jessica. Looks like it's going to be a pick and roll system, like heavy pick ball screen type system, which honestly plays, we all know it. That's Ja's strength.
When they went out and got Tuomas Iisalo, and you look at
that's-
everything in regards to his offense that he ran with Paris basketball and over in Europe, it was like, oh, this fits perfectly with Ja. So now it's a matter of how it works with the others.
Well, it worked great for Zach Edey. I think it worked great for Desmond Bain.
How does it work for Jaren Jackson Jr.?
Not just Jaren, but yeah, how does it work for Jaren? How does it work if you bring Santi back? What does that look like? What players in the offseason along the margins are you willing to go out there and chase down and try and get to make this team better if that's going to be the offensive system? That system needs a legit vertical threat. They need somebody who can set the screen, roll to the rim, and then can go up and catch lobs and finish at the rim. Zach Edey can do some of that, sure, but you need somebody else who can also do that. Where's that going to come from? What does that mean for somebody like Gigi and Vince? And that's just the offensive side of everything. When we think about defensive, what are they going to be defensively? When this Grizzlies team was humming, when they were really, really good, this iteration of them, they were tremendous defensively. They, like you started this off by saying, hey, they had taken major steps back on the defensive side of the ball. So what are the Grizzlies going to be defensively? I look forward to seeing all that play out. But you've got to have the coach in place with the system so you know what type of players you need to go after in the draft and in NBA free agency.
And who are his assistants? Yeah. That's a big piece, too. Who does he have on his staff to help this whole thing take place? And, like, what are you defensively? What are you defensively in the playoffs? Because if there's anything we've been reminded over the last 2 weeks of the first round, it's that it's a different brand of basketball gets played this time of year versus what you see throughout the regular season.
This feels different.
It feels great. Feels great.
Yes. Give that to me all damn season. This is the basketball I like to see. But this feels like the physicality has been ratcheted up to a different, especially here in recent memory, right? The playoffs bring out a bit more urgency, a bit more desperation, meaning people are a little bit more willing to lay their bodies on the line. But this feels damn near 90s-ish, right? Like I thought we had gotten rid of this type of basketball. This is tremendous. I'm not complaining. I am not complaining. I love this, but it feels different even from last year, the year before, 2, 3, 4 years ago.
2 Game 7s over the weekend in the NBA. Let's work backwards. Last night, the Warriors beat the Rockets 103-89. You talk about scores that feel like throwbacks, and the result was literally in the score for the Rockets, 89 points. They could not score. Like that became abundantly clear. And there were multiple stretches throughout the series where the Rockets offensively just completely shut down. The Warriors finally got their offensive surge really in the fourth quarter. They go up 20. Steph Curry is now 5-0 all time in playoff series against the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets have never beaten Steph Curry in the playoffs, which...
That's misleading. That's misleading. Because James Harden is so bad. He's so effing bad in Game 7.
But isn't that crazy how much we were reminded of the difference in superstar performance in a Game 7? Like Steph Curry, you go into Game 7, and the assumption is Steph Curry is going to find a way to get it done. With the Clippers, you go into Game 7 with James Harden, and the assumption is James Harden is going to lay an egg. And both of those things came to fruition over the weekend.
Yeah, we didn't forget. We knew. No. We just wanted to see it play
We
out.
see it over. And even with Steph, like, God, you're the Rockets, and your entire strategy is make anybody but Steph Curry beat us, which is a really good strategy, especially when you have Amen Thompson. And I will remember the first round of this NBA playoffs as the official starting point of the Thompson twin hype train, because both were tremendous. A serve for the Pistons, Amen for the Rockets, and he was defending Steph Curry in a way that Curry legitimately looked uncomfortable. And the Rockets have so many bodies that they can throw at him in that way. The problem is Buddy Hield then goes off for 33 points and makes 9 threes. And Steph Curry catches fire late in a game. The inevitability factor of Steph Curry remains undefeated in sports. And he gets his night-night moment in Houston, has 14 points in the fourth quarter, and really puts the screws to Houston in the end, which feels like it was always how it was written to end.
I knew that game was over. Game 6, Steph Curry is walking off of the court.
No.
And his son is there. I forget the kid's name. Son is a big boy. Mm-hmm. Holy hell. If his son keeps growing like that.
Cannon.
With that name?
Cannon.
Huge. Get ready. That dude is going to be in the NBA in the next 10 years. Either way it goes, the son is embracing the mama, crying. Grandma's sitting next to him. Steph's like, yo, what is he crying about? It's like, oh, you lost. It's like, hey, we played one more. It's like, no, but you lost today, Dad. I can't handle it. Crying. It's like, oh, okay. Steph is going to come out and just torch these dudes. His son is crying. They made the boy cry. Steph's not going to let that stand.
I didn't think they were going to have a choice. Like, Chris was out. Chris thought the Warriors were absolutely doomed. They were manhandled in Game 6. And it was kind of like an F around and find out moment because we will never know if they could have competed and come back in Game 5, but they didn't try. In Game 5, when Kerr pulled the starters halfway through the third, and then the bench guys, the legend of Pat Spencer, comes out, and they get it within, I think, 13, and they never put the starters back in and just essentially, wash their hands of it. Now, I will say, from a saving minutes on a 37-year-old Steph Curry body, every minute counts. And for Steph, who's dealing with the thumb, for Jimmy Butler, who, ever since he took that hard fall on his booty, feels like he's been a little bit more hobbled. But I think the issue turned into, could you trust Buddy Hield and Brandon Podziemski to hit the big shots, if not every shot? If Steph Curry was not able to go off for 50, who was going to contribute around him? And I don't think until last night there was a ton of trust that Buddy Hield could have that kind of performance in a Game 7, but then he shut everybody up. It was incredible to watch. That Warriors team, they just won't die.
Game 7 on the road, big game from Buddy Hield, right? That don't know exactly what the stats are, but I do know the stats from last game and the stats for the total series. But I do know watching it, sure does feel like Green is not that dude, right? we're going to, at a certain point in this
I thought you
offseason.
meant Draymond Green for a second. I was like, no, he is committed to
Jalen.
being the version of dude that he is.
Yeah,
but
no,
yes,
Draymond
Jalen Green.
Jalen Green, excuse me. We're going to hit something might pop up in this off season, maybe a off season workout that gets people really excited. He'll probably have a terrific like regular season next year, a start to the regular season next year, and you'll be like, oh, Jalen Green, or somebody be like, oh, Jalen Green this, Jalen Green that, and I'll be over here like, I don't like him. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I don't like him is because here he is in the playoffs, and he's fumbling, bumbling, stumbling about, looking like a end of rotation type player, not like the superstar face of the franchise, the dude in the Wingstop commercials that everybody is treating him like. You know, it's great to have the stats. You get the stats to make us pay attention to you so that we watch you as you continue your ascension. This was a Warriors team that was very beatable, very gettable. Somebody who you were the higher seed, you had home court advantage, you had Game 7 at home. And
does that sound familiar outside of the Game 7? Sounds a lot like 2022. Like the Warriors were not a perfect team. And then they end up winning a championship.
Wait, I don't care about the Warriors. This isn't about them.
No, I know. But my point is the Rockets had the opportunity. That's why the Rockets are now in that critical time of you were operating ahead of schedule a little bit, but then you get into the 2 spot and you were still perceived as a weak 2 seed. But now how do you make this team better? Because I'm with you, CJ. Like Jalen Green does not appear to be that. I'll argue, I don't think Alperen Şengün can be your primary. I think he could be a phenomenal number 2, but you have to get a primary scorer if you're Houston. And now the conversation all turns towards Kevin Durant, and I don't think that's the right move either, because I love Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant would make a lot of teams a lot better in the immediate, but Kevin Durant is old, and this Rockets team is really young. And I know their general manager has talked about like wanting to find somebody who fits in the age core-wise, and they'll go all in on Giannis. Everybody's going to go all in on Giannis if there is any world where Giannis leaves Cream City, because the Milwaukee Bucks posted that picture. I was
cash rules everything around me.
Yeah,
well,
but I always
cash
forget
rules
that
everything
Milwaukee
around
is
Milwaukee.
the Cream City.
Yeah, cash rules everything around Milwaukee. Turn up. Let's get it. 8 points. 8 points is not going to cut it.
No.
For if you're telling me that is somebody who you
And
think
if that's your
as a legit
dude,
number
he
one.
has 8 points. That's why you lose.
8
It's
points.
I mean, it's one of the primary reasons, and it's why you look at a Rockets team that could not score. Do you have the series up, CJ?
I have Jalen Green stats. What you need?
I was just curious how many times the Rockets scored 100 points in that series.
Oh, not often. What are you talking about?
'Cause
The Rockets, they scored 100 points.
Oh, they did. It was more than I thought.
Twice. Twice is more than you thought.
3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
3 times they scored.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a quick break.
2 of them.
Gary Parrish is going to join us on the other side. We'll get his take on the NBA playoffs thus far, the Grizzlies' hire of Tuomas Iisalo. That's all with GP when we come back.
4 times. 4 times they dropped 100.
Counting is hard.
It is.
Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With special guests 3 doors down. And Mammoth WVH. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Creed returns, the Summer of '99 tour.
Bain drives.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jaren with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
That's no show. Let's go.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
I got some Cam Ward news for you, by the way.
Let me hear it.
You talk about being able to sell some jerseys. 7 minutes ago at his introductory press conference in Nashville, Warren Moon walks in. I give you permission to wear number 1. Young guy.
Wow.
He hands him the number 1 jersey.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm going to give you permission to wear number 1. So he's going to have the number 1 Cam Ward jersey.
That's amazing.
We rocking the Cam Ward number 1 Titans jersey.
That's amazing.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
The other thing that came out this week that we were talking about innovation and Nike and all that, they dropped these $900 hyper boots that
900.
I mean, they're a recovery shoe apparently that you wear after sports, whatever.
Who's buying it? Because all the athletes that we see, they're going to get seated this. So who's going to actually pay $900 for this?
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
How about Mr. Irrelevant coming from the Memphis Tigers? Yeah, how about that? New England Patriots
Second
took
time.
Memphis defensive back Kobe Minor with the 257th overall pick.
If you're the player getting drafted at that spot, it's almost better to go undrafted and pick a place as an undrafted free agent to sign with where you have a better chance
But
of
you get a lot
sticking.
of stuff. You get a parade. I
They
think you
do?
go to Disneyland, I believe.
Mr. Irrelevant goes to Disney?
I think so.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We're going to
Let's
do
do
our,
it.
our pick 6, 6 favorite Outkast songs in honor of Outkast being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Elevators is the most creative.
Me and you.
Yes. Your mama and your cousin too.
Every time I hear somebody say me
Sitting
and
on
you,
it.
I just
You just go to the next one, right?
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Welcome back. It is Monday. That means it's time to welcome in Gary Parrish, host of the Gary Parrish Show, weekday mornings at 10 a.m. into the studio. He joins us every Monday. GP, thanks for coming in.
Oh, it's my pleasure and obligation.
It sure is.
Right.
I appreciate it.
It is both my pleasure and obligation.
Every Monday.
That's
and I
right.
know you have these busy weekends
yeah.
filled with youth baseball.
Oh, the busiest.
But I was curious, as I was at RiverBeat Music Festival this weekend, there were so many children.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like more children than I've seen at a music fest in a while. What is your take on children at music festivals?
I wouldn't let them go alone.
Okay.
But I would feel comfortable taking my little boys to a music festival.
Have they ever been?
Memphis Fest.
Okay.
Sure. I think that's probably the biggest festival they've been to. I think when Aiden was younger, we took him to a festival at AutoZone Park and probably Memphis in May at some point, and Lucero block parties and stuff like that. But I would have no objection. You talk to somebody who just took their little guys to see Kendrick Lamar and SZA in a football stadium. So I would do it. We didn't do it. But if there was an act that we all wanted to see or they specifically wanted to see, absolutely. I would take an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old to a festival. I'd feel good with it.
For whatever reason, a festival feels different than a concert to me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really explain
Well,
why.
you're outside and you can get popsicles and stuff.
I saw like a 3-year-old rolling on the ground yesterday on a sheet, and I was like, huh. And then I saw a toddler on shoulders at Galantis, and it was, things are so, I've reached the age of, God, does it really all have to be this loud all the time? And I wanted to put little earmuffs on the kid and like protect the young eardrums, but he was having a great time.
Yeah, I don't get involved with what other parents do
Me
unless
neither.
it's obviously illegal and problematic. You know, like
it made me almost want to have a kid to take to a music festival.
I would tell you, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but I will cherish that weekend in Minneapolis a few weekends ago forever because I got to experience that with my family, specifically my little boys. Like my wife and I have been to 1 million shows, and hopefully we'll go to 1 million more. But that was something they'll have forever. And I would have enjoyed that night, that weekend, regardless of the circumstances. But I enjoyed it immensely more because I got to share it with them.
It was funny seeing the teenage girls there for Benson Boone
Sure.
who were like by themselves. Obviously, their parents had let them go see Benson Boone, and then some of them trickled over into Anderson Paak, just staying. And then I saw them say like, "Oh, we got to go get picked up. Like, Mom's gonna be here soon." It's like those are the fun moments. I guess it struck me that I was very happy. We live in a world where it feels like the majority of online chatter around parenting is so hyper security focused, like parents trying to protect their kids from any possible, and the world can be a scary place.
Sure.
But seeing kids just have a fun time and like growing into those moments, it just made me very happy last night.
Yeah, like I can remember being, high school age and going to Memphis in May and like, yeah, those are things you look forward to, and those are memories you have forever, and you're doing it with your friends, and you hopefully kids have changed and matured over the years, but like in the mid-90s, you'd probably do some stuff you shouldn't do, and everything worked out. Like,
They're still doing some stuff they shouldn't do, but that's okay.
Yeah, right.
It's part of growing up.
I think it is. Like, as long as you can be responsible with it and not stupid and don't put yourself in terrible situations. But yeah, those are like, there's a bunch of kids who, like came downtown and were on the river this weekend the same way when I was their age. I was on the river doing a lot of the same stuff. Like that's nice. I didn't enjoy the festival this weekend because we had other things going on, and just my festival days are for the most part probably behind me. But I like the idea of that river and that park being a magnet for people, specifically young people, to create memories at. Like, I've had a million wonderful nights in that same place. I'm glad people got to do that.
Me too. I also had a lot of NBA basketball to consume over the weekend, but my weekend started with a press release from the Memphis Grizzlies
I saw that.
a coaching decision had been made. Tuomas Iisalo is the head coach. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm going to assume that, like me, you were not surprised.
No, I always assumed that's where it was going. I heard you and CJ talking earlier, and you asked CJ, like, is there anything he could have done to not get the job? I think it's pretty clear, no. No. Like, what could he have done to not get the job? Get swept out of the playoffs? I mean, that happened.
Lose by 51?
You lose by 51.
Let go of a 29-point lead?
Fail to get a playoff in a play-in game in the final seconds. Miss some challenge opportunities.
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying all this
to fortify the point.
To make a larger point.
Yes.
Not to goof on the way the season closed, but to agree with CJ. I don't think there's anything he could have done to not get the job, because a lot of stuff that happened.
I think the only thing you could have done
encouraging.
is and that's where I go back to the words of Ja.
If he'd have made Ja Morant hate him.
Exactly.
If he would have done something to make Ja Morant feel comfortable publicly criticizing him or questioning him or not showing belief in him, that might have been it. But it seemed like they got that in a good place pretty quickly. Yep. And so now here we are. And I want to be very clear. I understand it. I'm not even against it. This guy is obviously a brilliant basketball mind. He's an accomplished basketball coach. So this isn't even like some career assistant where, hey, he's never done it. He has been a head coach in professional basketball and been incredibly successful. He's got accolades and trophies and honors, and go look at the Wikipedia page. I won't pretend to follow European basketball or pretend to have known who this man was before his name was initially attached to the Grizzlies. But I used to work with Sam Vecini, and still, he's one of my friends, and like Sam follows, I think, everything about basketball on this planet and any other planet where it is played. Yeah. I don't know that anybody on a national level is more plugged in, and I should say international level because he lives in Australia. But like Sam Vecini knows Iisalo and is like, this guy is an incredible basketball coach. And ultimately it'll come down to the roster, which is the case for most coaches in the NBA. And like, how does he connect to Ja and Jaren and Dez, or whatever combination of those three players remain with the franchise going forward? Could be all three, could be something less than that. Do they believe in him? Do they respect him? Will they fight for him and play for him and kill for him, for lack of a better verb? If so, this is hopefully going to go well. If not, then you've got another problem. But this was always where we were going to end up, it appears.
Yeah, this felt like step one, and now everything else fills itself. And you and I spoke on Friday, the hope that there's a short leash for many things next season, where if this team is not valuing the regular season, succeeding in the regular season, by the time you get to the trade deadline, like CJ brought up the climb and quote of hard conversations will be had, and this notion of sometimes you have to have tough conversations. Well, that's the time for those to be had. But in the meantime, it's going to take some patience because we won't know. We will not know until we get to
we can talk all off season
all summer.
and we
That's
will.
what we
It's
do.
literally our job.
And summer league will come through, and all those young players will.
And somebody will be impressive, and we'll try to extrapolate from that something meaningful. This is the job. The truth is, I'm open in terms of the core three to almost anything, literally almost anything, including bringing them back. But breaking them up would be on the table for me as well if something materialized that made sense. What you and I talked about Friday is where I will be 100%. Whatever configuration of this basketball team that is brought back, if it does include Ja, Jaren, Dez, they will need to prove to me very quickly that this is going to be different. Because if it unfolds with the first 40 games of the season and Ja's over here in street clothes and whatever else is happening and you're just sort of lingering around 6 or 7, then I'm done with it.
No.
I don't mean it exactly in this way, but I think you'll get the point. My kids go every couple days asking me if they can get an iPhone, right? Now, I want to be clear. They both had some versions of iPhones and iPads and everything you could have. And they're always broken or lost, every one of them. So at this point, I'm just like, no. The answer is always no. We're not doing that anymore. But it'll be different this time. You've been saying that for a long time. It's never different. It's always the same thing. We're not doing this anymore. The answer is no. I would approach this, apples to oranges, obviously, but I would approach this, if it's not going brilliantly, where I'm turning on TNT and Kenny Smith is like, man, this Grizzlies thing is really flipped. They look like they've been able to do what Cleveland did, or some. If we're not having those conversations, then I am ready to be done
We won't
with
be
it.
turning on TNT, Gary.
NBC. NBC.
Hey, NBC, they're going all in. That was part of the weekend conversation where they're gonna air player introductions.
Love it.
To bring it back. Obsessed with it.
Love it.
Watching the Derby on Saturday. It gets announced in the middle because we love a cross promotion. Carmelo Anthony is going to be one of the analysts added to the group of talking heads for NBA on NBC. And then they also put out this video of Round Ball Rock, which, speaking of cross promotion, hell, like everyone from Law and Order to Housewives to everything NBC Universal related is featured within it. I found myself so excited. Like, I don't usually get excited about the business side until it comes, and we'll all discuss it. But I was like, damn, they're doing this right. They're doing this the right way.
And their explanation makes a lot of sense to me. Like, showing the starting lineups makes it feel big. One of the issues with the NBA regular season is that even the players tell us it doesn't matter. I mean, this franchise emphasized how little they thought it mattered this season up until they were sitting in 8th in a best-of-7 series against Oklahoma City. Up until that was in play, nobody seemed to care about the regular season or winning games or playing your best players in the fourth quarter or any of that stuff. So here's NBC saying, if we're going to invest billions of dollars in this, we're going to try to make it feel big and important. And one way to do that is let's show the starting lineups live on television. I love that. If I were a producer of basketball at CBS, NBC, anywhere else, I would push for that.
Yeah.
I do think I like it.
What do we need? One more segment of the panel?
Yeah, I don't
No.
I don't need to hear anybody talking.
I
more.
want the game set up. I want to feel like I'm in the atmosphere.
When I bring my children to FedEx Forum,
Yes.
I make a point. We're not
to be
always.
there for starting lineups.
I like to. I like them to see that. I like the video. I like the fire.
Yeah.
I like, and in his whatever year out of Murray State, number 12. I like all that.
And the crowd response.
I love
and getting
all of it.
that.
That's part of the experience for
Now-
me, and I think that can play well on television.
I am admittedly too young to know if this is true, but because obviously like NBC was big in the Jordan years and the 90s, and Sirius becomes associated as the Chicago Bulls theme song. Like, you don't know many teams' theme songs. Did they air that in the Bulls player introductions during that time?
I feel like I remember seeing that a million times.
That's me too, but I
And
don't know
it
if
is
I'm
not
making it up.
But it's not something you could have seen on Twitter.
Yeah.
And
so you just know. That's my point. Like, these organic moments that grow into symbols of the league.
I feel like, and I don't know, somebody
Yeah.
can Google this. I feel like it might have been something that Bulls games on WGN, and WGN might have done it, and then it might have been there for the finals or whatever, and it became big. Clearly, that was a thing. Like, most people even listening right now have no idea what the Grizzlies play during the starting lineups, but you hear that Bulls song forever. I mean, I saw a video at some point in the past year, like Michael Jordan is like at a restaurant and the DJ starts playing that song and everybody knows exactly what's happening. That was, yeah, I mean, perhaps it's nostalgia a little bit. But I like it. A big boxing match. You know what I love? I love watching Floyd Mayweather walk into the ring or Mike Tyson walk into the ring. Like, that's part of the experience, and the starting lineups can be part of the experience.
Listen, I'll even the Kentucky Derby.
There you go.
I don't care about the Kentucky Derby,
No.
but the pageantry
That's right.
around it gets you into it.
That's right.
And next thing you know, you're watching the horse race.
Right.
It's supposed to be at 5:57 p.m. It ended up being around 6 o'clock. But like, I went out of my way to see that, and I think how a network goes about broadcasting everything but the event itself does lead to the ultimate, like, this is a television product.
Right.
We talk about this with college football all the time. At the end of the day, it's a TV show.
Right.
So everything plays into an audience coming back. And that's something the NBA is desperate for right now with a regular season that has lost its luster significantly. And they should and can try to do everything to bring eyes back.
That's right. Like, I've actually had conversations on the college basketball side with producers and directors, and you find out pretty quickly, like, they don't care what you think. All right, just go over there and rank your little basketball teams. We'll tell you when to talk. But one of the points I've made, if you turn on a game on CBS sometimes, and it like tips off at 7 o'clock, every once in a while because everything, you know, from growing up in this stuff, everything's scripted, like to the minute. Pre-game introductions start here, national anthem starts here. Yeah. And you'll get that rundown as a producer doing a game live from FedEx Forum, and it'll say, okay, we come on, they're giving it to us at 1:02. We need to be doing our pregame hit at 1:02:45. It's that specific. And we know from this rundown, the lights are going to be out in the arena for starting lineups. So let's pre-tape that when we can light it and it'll look lit for television. And I'm always like, no, do it with
in the dark.
Do it in the dark. Do it in the dark with the crowd, because if you pre-tape it, even if you pre-tape it 15 minutes early, the crowd looks different 15 minutes before tip-off. I was like, do it live in the dark with the crowd and the you hear the PA person in the back, and that just seems bigger.
It's not easy, but it's bigger. That's always been my argument, too. And people want it to look as clean, and I want it to look as dramatic
I want
as
it to
possible.
look, right. So when Kevin Durant goes back to Oklahoma City for the first time, I just want a camera in that building for 30 minutes pregame, just everything about it. I love the build-up to something. And in a normal regular season game, you're not going to have that kind of build-up. But the starting lineups can... There's a reason every NBA franchise tries to make the starting lineups feel like a big deal. Turn the lights down and the music up and the video. They think it matters. So let's put that on television and see if we can make people care about it. I like it. It's a good idea.
Get butts in seats early.
Yeah.
Get eyes on a TV broadcast early. The NBA playoffs have had no issue of being entertaining. They've been wildly entertaining. We get 2 Game 7s. We were talking about the Rockets-Warriors game before you joined, and I'm curious, as we sit here and we're talking about the Grizzlies, and there is a connectivity of back in 2022, it was the Grizzlies who were the young, on-the-rise 2 seeds, slightly ahead of schedule. Could they be the ones to unseat or dethrone the dynastic Warriors? And they don't. And now we had the same conversations with the Houston Rockets, and they don't.
Right.
If you could give the Rockets one piece of advice, what would it be so that they do not have a similar fate, at least in the immediate fate of what we've seen from the Grizzlies the last 3 years?
Don't get younger.
Okay.
Intentionally or unintentionally. Doesn't matter. The bottom line's still the same. I do think I think it was maybe Bob Myers. I saw talking about this over the weekend or heading into whenever. I thought it was a reasonable point. All right, 4 minutes left, game on the line. We know what Golden State's going to do. We know who's getting these shots, or at least who's drawing all the attention. And if it ain't him, Steph, obviously, then Jimmy Butler's made high pressure postseason shots before and plays before. Who's going to do it over here in Houston? You relying on Jalen Green? You relying on Alperen Sengun? Like, do you need that 1A guy? Now, maybe that guy is on the roster and he just needs to get a little older and mature and whatever. But don't ever make the mistake of thinking because you push somebody a little bit, it's just right around the corner. These things are often not right around the corner. We talk about them like, give it another year, give it another 2, let Steph get older. But that is stuff we were talking about 3 years ago, all right? And so eventually, like, Steph will not be able to do this to you.
Yes.
And Jimmy Butler won't be there either. And your guys will be older. And maybe that will be enough. But I think you can really, and we learned it here, we lived it here, You can make a mistake by thinking we were close in this series, so that means we're close. Yeah. 3 years after that series, we're further away today than I think it felt 3 years ago.
And there's obviously something tantalizing about the homegrown roster, both from a feeling standpoint and from a salary cap reasoning. But I'm with you. Like, it feels like there is a move to be made in Houston that, based on conversations around the league, something will be done, whether it be the chase for Kevin Durant. And I don't necessarily think that's the best case because Kevin Durant is old. And it kind of goes against the young core, but you have to balance that. Like everyone's going to want Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Right.
Does Giannis want to go?
Right.
Can you put together the right package? And yes, the Rockets have enough players, but like, what is the value of Jalen Green coming out of this series? It makes it interesting. It's so much easier said than done. It's the easiest is to just sit here and be like, well, we were so close. Let's hope that the growth of these players is enough. It doesn't seem like the Rockets are in that headspace, but then it turns into, okay, what's the sweet spot?
But when does like sitting here really actually work?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not ruling it out and saying it's never happened.
Even the Thunder didn't sit there. They went and got Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso last offseason.
The Celtics didn't sit there.
Yeah.
The Celtics were banging on that door for years, and there was some thought of just let it play out, and you'll get there eventually. And finally, Brad Stevens was like, no, it's time to do something different. And that's how Marcus Smart ends up here, and Kristaps Porzingis ends up there, and then they end up holding a trophy. So the Rockets can learn from all of that. Look at the Celtics. You can't get closer than them. I mean, maybe you can, but you get the point. But they still felt like there's something else that needs to be done. The Grizzlies were like, all right, we're here. Now let's just let Ja get a year older, let Des get a year older, let Jaren get a year older. We'll be right there. You're further away today than you were 3 years ago. And so there's lessons in there for everybody.
That's a part of the uncomfortable conversation where I get it. You drafted these guys. You see what they do day in, day out. I'm sure they're tremendous workers, and you see the best in them. But at a certain point, kind of got to look around and say, okay, what are these dudes, particularly what are they together? Are they enough? And then what do we do to make it enough? If the answer is no, which it clearly is no, what can be done to make it enough? And that's the thing that this front office, I think, at times struggles to do is, hey, we like this guy a lot. We love what Zaire is. We love what Zaire is. We think he's going to be able to go out there and be one of those 3-and-D super athletic wing players. Well, okay, he's not. All right, it's time to move on from him. And I feel like they hold on a bit longer than what they should. They should sell much higher than what they do on dudes in the hopes that they finally achieve what they're thought to be.
Yeah, like right now, there are basketball people I respect, who genuinely believe the Jaren Des thing's not the problem as much as the pieces around them are the problem. And so if this offseason is spent trying to fix that problem, I can get on board with that heading into the season. Just to circle back, where I will be heading into the season, if those three
just to reiterate
big contracts are back, it is prove it time. We're not going to sit around and wonder what this could be anymore. We're already 5 years into it. Next year will be 6. If the results are not there, we're not going to keep waiting. Like right now, if you want to try to convince people that it's not a Jaren Des problem, it's a other people problem, then fix that problem. But once you fire the coach and things don't work, and then you change the ancillary pieces and it doesn't change in any sort of meaningful way, well, then it becomes impossible to look anywhere else other than that. And that will be the time where, all right, it's been long enough, longer than most franchises would have allowed this to go on. Regardless of anything, next year I think will undeniably be a prove it or this ain't going to last much longer situation.
Yeah. It is an interesting wrinkle that 2 of the former ancillary pieces are on that Houston Rockets team, and it does create these what if type memories. Revisionist history is always an easy thing to do. Like, it's easy to forget how Dillon Brooks ends up in a situation where, if I remember correctly, did not come to exit interviews, and then it was a Dillon Brooks will not be back under any circumstances, and didn't have particular great shot selection during that series against the Los Angeles Lakers.
And also just embarrassed the franchise with his mouth and his actions.
And poked the bear, and then didn't answer to the media afterwards.
Revisionist history is fine. I'm aware of it, but I'll never try to pretend I was in a different place than I was. I wanted him out of here as well.
I wanted him out of here as well. And then I am also understanding that I sit here and say, God, sometimes you don't realize what you got till it's gone. But also loaded in that is there sure are. Also is the understanding of I saw it with my own eyes. I felt what it felt like as it got to the end of that situation.
But that's not the only one of those, right? It would be one thing if Dylan was the only thing like Dylan in the NBA, but you can get other better versions of that. Right, so I think it's become
clear how difficult it is.
I don't understand
for this team to get a better other version of that.
I don't understand why fans are clamoring for that when they were the same people clamoring to get rid of.
That's the thing.
That.
I don't speak out of both sides of my mouth. I wanted him gone. I think this is the most reasonable thing I could say about it. I wanted Dylan Brooks gone, but the attempt to replace him with something that could keep the good stuff that he brought in place has not worked. That hasn't worked. Draft picks, trades, what have they've done to try to replace Dylan Brooks has not worked. And the franchise has, it's been a detriment to the franchise. There's no getting around that. I understand why you thought you would be better off without Dylan Brooks, but we don't have to lie to each other. You haven't been. You haven't been better off without Dylan Brooks. I don't want to say that strictly because of the loss of Dylan Brooks, but the bottom line is the bottom line. Since Dylan Brooks left here, his career has gone this way. The franchise that employs him has gone this way.
Yeah.
And the Grizzlies have gone the other way. That's a fact.
Yeah. And on the flip side, not the flip side, but congruently, I will say I always wanted Steven Adams here. I loved the value of but he was hurt.
That's right.
And it got to the point
and people were frustrated with it.
Yes. And decisions had to be made. And Steven Adams leads to Jalen Wells being on this roster right now. Like, you get that draft pick. And so these things, nothing exists in a vacuum. But when your team is sitting at home during the playoffs and you have to watch two players who were formerly alongside Ja, Jaren, and Dez, I understand how you get kind of the hazy eyes of...
Oh, sure. Like, because you could just... It's not hard. It was the previous Saturday where I watched Ja in street clothes, Jaren and Dez lose to the Thunder to close out a sweep. And then that night, there was Steven Adams and Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
And I believe they lost the game, but they were in a game. And they were both playing key roles in the game, in the fourth quarter. And I was like, man, if you just took them two and put them with them three, you might have something.
Are the Grizzlies a contender?
And then you realize, oh, yeah, we had that. I don't remember being appalled or offended on the day that the Grizzlies traded Steven Adams. I remember understanding.
I was disappointed.
Just because I like Steven Adams and everybody likes Steven Adams.
And even as he's doing his press conferences now, like, I will sit and listen to Steven Adams
he's the
talk.
best. He's just great. He's great. And like my little guys, like even watching the game yesterday, like they met him at the airport one time and he was just nice to them at the airport. And like, that's the other thing. He's very recognizable. So and he was just nice to them at the airport and took pictures with them. And they were
fans for life.
Easy. Like my 11-year-old.
It's really that simple sometimes.
You ready? 2 weeks ago, my 11-year-old said, Dad, what's DeAnthony Melton up to? Yeah. Just because DeAnthony Melton was nice to him one time. It really is a lesson in there for, I guess, everybody, but especially professional athletes people look up to. You can really make an impact on them just by smiling at them and fist bumping them or whatever. Like my kids root for Colin Morikawa in golf because he was nice to them at the TPC South one day. So I love Steven Adams, but I don't remember being like, I can't believe they've moved hurt Steven Adams, who, oh, by the way, wasn't supposed to be hurt. Remember the whole offseason, it was like, oh, yeah, he'll be back. It's fine. The first time I remember I was doing a Q&A with Taylor Jenkins, and I had questions, set up. It was a very public Q&A as opposed to a not so public.
Private Q&A.
Yeah, no, it was a public Q&A. And I was asking some question about Steven Adams, and that one got nixed. And I was like,
that's odd.
That's not a good sign, because it was like, how great's it going to be to have Steven Adams back and healthy? And they were like, don't ask about that. A little week later, we find out what it was. But the frustration, like, I'm sure the front office on some level was frustrated with how that went down as well.
Yeah.
Yo, man, we thought you were going to be here. And now it's just, and that was the first of a million bad things that happened. So I don't remember being bothered that he was moved. But that's another thing that hasn't been fixed since it happened. And so now here we are.
GP, here we are.
Here we are.
Thanks for joining us on a Monday.
It's
Contractually obligated.
It's both my pleasure and my obligation.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the other NBA playoff action from this weekend, NHL playoffs as well. Plus, Caitlin Clark is back. She had me watching a preseason game on a Sunday. We'll get into it when we come back.
Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With special guests 3 doors down. And Mammoth WVH. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Creed returns, the Summer of '99 tour.
Bain drives.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jarrett with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go, show! Let's go!
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Double your chances to win all month long in March with 2 big promotions. On Fridays, embrace the madness and win a share of $150,000 in cash and free play. On Saturdays, starting March 8th, go for the gold and win your share of up to $10,000 in cash and free play in the 80K Fool's Gold giveaway. Enjoy live entertainment all month long and play for your chance to win big in March only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
I thought Penny was smart to handle this the way he handled it. He expressed frustration with the system, the chaotic nature of it. The price hike on eggs ain't got nothing on the price hike on basketball players. The same dude who cost you $150,000 last summer is costing you $500,000 right now. I understand his sentiment, but he stopped well short of criticizing PJ Haggerty.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We talked a little bit about Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells, man, he finished 3rd in the balloting for NBA Rookie of the Year. He's going to be back. He's going to play in Summer League, and maybe he'll shoot some left-handed jumpers out there. Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to RiverBeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We're going to do our pick 6, 6 favorite Outkast songs in honor of Outkast being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Elevators is the most creative.
Me and you.
Yes. Your mama and your cousin too.
Every time I hear somebody say me and you, I just
go to the next one, right?
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Yes, CJ, hand in the air.
Did Steve Aoki play this banger?
No, but he could.
Oh, he could.
He absolutely could.
I bet it would get the crowd going.
Could do it. Hey, I love an EDM show. I'm born to bounce.
Like, it that does. Your people like this move. Your
Yeah.
people like up down.
We love a hands in the
up,
air,
hands
and a
up,
bounce
and
situation.
up down. Like that's yeah.
It was a good time. All right. Outside of Warriors Rockets game 7, we actually had 2 game 7s. I don't want to have NHL erasure. Like, I was going to save this for Hot Mess Express because the way both teams lost was just so catastrophic. But we actually had 4 game 7s over the weekend. That's a lot of game 7s. 2 of them in the National Hockey League. And both of the game 7s on the hockey side, I think were further proof that hockey game 7s are superior to NBA game 7s if we're talking about early round action. Like, we always have to do this where we measure things against all game 7s, to me, matter. I love game 7s in any way, shape, or form. But when you had, first, my Colorado Avalanche, just when I started to care, blew a 2-0 lead in the third quarter and ended up losing 3-2 to the third period. Oh, my God.
There we go.
Period. Lost 3-2. Avs are the first team in any of the major pro sports leagues to lose consecutive game 7s. They lost a game 7 last go around. They lose a game 7 this weekend. It was traumatic. It was also occurring on the same day as the Nuggets Clippers game. So thankfully, the city of Denver only had to split their sadness with the Avs because then the Nuggets end up winning. But then last night, the Jets-Blues game was insane. The Blues were up 3-1 in the third period, up 3-2 with 1.6 seconds left, tied it with a crazy goal that we cannot show because playoff hockey is one of those things where they take our shows down off of YouTube if we show highlights from it. But it was a crazy goal that sent it into overtime, and then it went to double overtime, and the Jets won. And I just think that hockey overtimes, game 7s, and you could add a double overtime, it just feels like a superior, stressful situation in sports. As somebody who had no one in the fight last night, obviously with the Colorado Avalanche, I was devastated in that sense. But just because goals are so hard to come by, and just the stress, I mean, similar nature to soccer where you're just waiting and the thought of like, can they get one past the goalie? Can they put the biscuit in the basket? And it was a good time. Those were two big wins on the game 7s matter more in hockey than basketball. Proud.
Does James Harden leave the stadium and immediately go suit up for the Avalanche?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's actually what happened.
Yeah.
They put him in goal, and then he was like, sorry, it's a game 7.
Do the Avalanche have the ridiculous game 7 streak? You brought up they've lost back-to-back game 7s. But aren't they like winless their last 7? Did I see a tweet like that or something?
They're 6-11 all time.
Okay, all right. Maybe I'm making up stats about hockey. I thought somebody lost a game 7 and they're over their last 7 in game 7, something stupid like that.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But that's us trying to talk about hockey and periods and all that jazz.
Doing the good stuff.
The Clippers Nuggets game 7. The reason I brought in the intensity of the NHL side of things. That game 7 between the Clippers and the Nuggets was not anything to write home about. Like, it was not the game 7 energy that you are searching for, where it feels like everything is coming down to the end, to the wire. Who is going to win? Both teams are exhausted. No, the Clippers just looked completely gassed by the time you got to the third quarter. Like, the Nuggets waxed them in the third quarter and part of the second quarter as well. Another team that just looked totally flummoxed by a zone. Like, I'm sorry. Do teams not practice against zones? Because the Nuggets roll out that 2-3 zone and the Clippers just shriveled. They could not do anything. And we talked about it in the earlier segment, just in terms of the Nuggets not being necessarily the deepest team out there, but their rotation plays their booties off. Like, the energy and effort from Christian Brown and Russell Westbrook and Aaron Gordon make it work for them. And Russell Westbrook flipped this game energy-wise. He has the dunk and the tech for hanging on the rim and calls his own tech, which was just so amazingly Russell Westbrook. Like, this moment is all Denver fans wanted to be able to celebrate. And it is the epitome of Russell Westbrook. He steps up. He's good Russ in game 7. You get the bad Russ, but you get the good Russ. And that's why you do it.
Send their asses effing home.
Effing home.
They soft. And that's what he did. That's what they did.
Did you hear his quote about like just perfectly encapsulating the Russell Westbrook experience coming from Russell Westbrook. I think we have. Jacob, do we have it?
I don't know if we have it or not. But what he said.
Oh, dang. He's essentially like, that's what I do. I might give you a point. I might get you a rebound. I might turn it over. I might mess this up. I might get a block. I might get a steal. And it was just the back and forth of like good Russ, bad Russ, all in a Russell Westbrook quote talking about himself. And it summed it up perfectly.
All of that is true. And he's just an effing competitor, man. If he makes a mistake, it's not because he's afraid. It's not because the moment is too big for him. It's not because he's unsure of himself. It's because he's going balls to the wall every second he's on the basketball court, and I love that. I understand from a statistical standpoint, he might not be the most efficient thing we've ever seen in the NBA, right? And I'm putting that nicely. But I don't care. Go out there and do stuff, and we'll figure out how to use you. He's a giant ball of fire whenever he steps onto the court. You have to manage that intensity, that passion, that desire to win. But I never had a question whether or not Russell was going to show up for this game.
Okay, here was the quote. He said, "My ability to be able to be a force of nature on the floor is what I pride myself on. Whatever that looks like. It may be a turnover. It may be a missed shot. It may be a steal. It may be a dunk. It may be a missed three. It may be a made three. It's going to be all of that. Just take it for how it goes, and whatever happens, you go with it. And I've always been like that as long as I leave it on the floor. And God willing, I'm grateful to be able to go out and continue to compete." And that's Russell Westbrook.
One of the ultimate competitors in the NBA. One of the ultimate competitors when we talk about this generation of basketball players, right? From the 2010s through now. All of those dudes are aging. LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant, Russ, right? All of them are aging. But damn it, this one is fighting his way through in a way that other players in the NBA, not saying any of the ones that I've named, I'm saying other players in the NBA should watch that and say, oh, okay, this is how we play basketball. Maybe not this style, maybe not with this skill set, but damn it, with this heart, with this passion, with this intensity, with this love for the game and this desire to win at all costs. Because Russ is out there flying. As soon as he steps on the court, energy picks up for everybody because they know, all right, a real dog is here and we're going to get chewed up and spit out if we don't step up and meet the moment. Man,
he's a dog.
To James Harden's credit,
he
didn't step up and meet the moment, and we all knew it, and they ran off the court. That Nicholas Batum thing, like, okay, great. It's one of my favorite things about the NBA playoffs is like, okay, we're just gonna do something ridiculous, and it works all of a sudden. But don't go back to that well twice.
Don't do it twice.
Don't do it twice, because by God, if you do it twice, that other team has made the adjustment and has it figured out. They're not going to be caught off guard the second time.
No, but like Batum evaporates, Norman Powell evaporates, but they are not the reason the Clippers lost that game. The Clippers lost that game because James Harden is a minus 29.
James Harden
did not show up again.
Had 10 assists at half. I'm just saying.
How many shots?
Listen, I said 10 and 7. I think he had 10 and 7. I think he had 10 and 7 at half.
It felt like there was such a shift in really believing in the Clippers. And one of the things I love about the NBA playoffs is the prisoner of the moment like mentality that sweeps over everybody. And suddenly Kawhi Leonard is the best player on the court again. And you can legitimately foresee a world where if the Clippers play like that, if Kawhi plays like that, if James Harden plays like that, man, they might not just make it out of this first round against the Nuggets. They could make it out of the Western Conference. They could make it to the NBA Finals. But I'm going to stop doing that with the Clippers because they never do. They just don't. And until I see a case with my own eyes of that team specifically, and in this instance, James Harden being one of the two most important players on that team, making it through the NBA playoff wilderness and into like a finals contention, I'm not going to allow myself to think about the idea of it because the idea does not become a reality. That's just not the case. It never has been.
Kawhi did his job. Kawhi, 20-plus points in every single game. Kawhi gave you damn near 40 in one of those games and won that game for you. All right, somebody else has got to step in here. Norman Powell has had a tremendous season. Step in here. Zubac, for the early part of this series, looked like he was going to give Jokic hell on the offensive side of the court. Like, step up and meet that moment. One of you guys have to, because we know what James Harden is in a Game 7. But all of this being said, real close to not having a Game 7. That we are 0.000001-ish seconds away.
Where was the hand on the ball seconds away?
And that's always the question. Where's the hand on the ball? That's one of the main things I ask this world. Was the hand on the ball? Yes or no? That's it. One of those situations where it's like that much difference in this story being different. And it being, holy hell, what's the West going to do with the Clippers? They got James Harden, who's playing really well. They've got Kawhi playing at a high level. They got Norman Powell and Zubac and all these other dudes playing at high levels.
What could possibly go wrong?
What are we supposed to do with them? It reminds me of the Kawhi Leonard shot over Joel Embiid, where we're 4 or 5 bounces on the rim away from that story being different. And we look at Joel Embiid a bit differently because he probably gets a championship against an injured Warriors team.
The KD shoe size.
If KD wore a half an inch,
sliver of a smaller shoe,
the Bucks situation seems more dire. The Giannis situation seems more dire.
And does the big three work in Brooklyn?
And then what does that mean for Dallas? Does Dallas go out there and get Kyrie? Or do they keep rolling with Luka?
Yes,
then you keep rolling with Luka. Are you sure you want to trade
The butterfly
Luka?
effect
like,
is
oh
crazy.
my gosh. But yeah, that's sports, baby. That's the beautiful thing about it. If 0.0 something seconds go differently for them, if Aaron Gordon holds onto that ball for nanoseconds longer, we could be talking about them in a completely different way.
Or Jokic doesn't miss it at a perfect angle where Gordon's able to dunk it back. Yeah. But the thing is, the one thing we talk about in the same way over and over again is James Harden in elimination games.
Yeah, because that's guaranteed.
It's inevitable.
That's guaranteed.
The inevitability of laying an egg is crazy, and he's so good.
At laying the egg, yes.
But no, he's so good. At laying the egg. And then at laying the egg. Like, Josh Eberle had a big Twitter thread. I don't know what we call them now, an X thread, whatever, where he just like went through year by year. 2012, James Harden's first NBA Finals as the reigning sixth man of the year. Shoots 37%, doesn't score in double digits in 3 of the 5 games. 2013, first ever playoff series as a Rocket. First series as like their guy. Rockets down 3-0 to the Thunder. He responds in game 4 by turning the ball over 10 times and shooting 4 of 12.
Get to the one where he dribbles the ball off his foot. Does he have all of them? Because that was the one that pissed me off. That was the one I was like, all right, James, I'm out, dog. That was against the Warriors. I feel like game 7. Just bounced the ball. Was that game 7 or game 6?
No, wasn't it game 5?
One of those
where
games.
He had 12 turnovers. That was when we started talking about like the minutes load was too much for James Harden going into the series. I think that was the one where it bounced off his foot. 2017 series is tied 2-2. Spurs Rockets. Rockets lose game 5 in overtime, but Kawhi Leonard is hurt. Series goes back to Houston for game 6. Undrafted Jonathan Simmons replaces Kawhi Leonard in the starting lineup. James Harden, this is Josh Eberle's words, seizes the moment with 10 points on 18% shooting, 6 turnovers, 6 fouls, and the Rockets lose by 39. And you just go year, but 2018, 2020, 2021, 2022. There is a James Harden story for all of them. It is an absurd thing in sports where someone can be as talented as James Harden is and continuously flame out so aggressively in the playoffs. And he doesn't talk to the media afterwards, which I just think is such a lame-o move. Like, just give a bad quote. I don't care, but give a quote. It's part of the job. I know it sucks. I know it's the last thing anybody wants to do in that situation. But I believe he didn't talk to the media after all 3 of the Clippers' losses this
year. It was
series.
a 2015, I think, Game 5 against the Warriors in the conference championship. That's when he bounced the ball off his foot. And I was like, okay, I'm out on James.
And he was 2 of 11 shooting in that game.
In that game?
Yes.
Okay. Well, hey.
Like, my God, man. Anyway, congratulations to the Denver Nuggets. You now get to face...
Well,
I was just going to go into the second round. Did you have a note?
No, I was going to ask you what you thought about their chances in the next series, but
That's
judging how you were about to set that up as I rudely interrupted you, you think they're getting waxed.
I think they're likely losing game 1.
Okay.
This is the conference semifinals are set. 7 of the 8 teams are the same as last year in the conference semifinals. The only difference is the Golden State Warriors and whether it was going to be the Warriors or the Rockets. That was going to be the case. I just think that was such a physical, exhausting series for Denver, and given their noted depth issues, I don't think it's wild to assume that today will be a difficult road, an uphill battle out the gate for the Nuggets. Now, I do not think that they are going to get waxed. I do believe in the Thunder in this series. When we talked on Friday, I said I believe more in the Thunder than in the Cavs, or at some point last week. And that was proven to be a pretty good preview thought going into the semifinals in watching the Pacers beat the Cavs and get an upset. That series started. We got to talk about the series because it began. The series begins when the home team loses, and the Cavs lost yesterday. I really thought that the Cavs were going to be able to lean on the energy of their crowd. Felt like such a quintessential home court advantage shift in that third quarter, and they do the whole Cavalanche thing, and the points start piling on. But complete credit to the Indiana Pacers for steadying the ship, making the plays down the stretch, taking advantage of a Cavs team playing without Darius Garland and how that impacts them. Tyrese Halliburton had 12 assists. Chris was asking me yesterday, like, why do you believe in the Pacers? And my number one answer was Andrew Nembhard. and he was great. Like, for whatever reason, Andrew Nembhard in the playoffs becomes an elite three-point shooter, and what that does to allow Tyrese Halliburton to drive in the lane, open things up completely offensively for the Pacers. But what he does defensively, I follow this woman named Caitlin Cooper, who's a big Pacers analytics reporter. She's so smart, and she always points out just the defensive shift that Andrew Nembhard gives this team. And he doesn't always have the steals and the blocks, but he makes every shot difficult. And he's kind of like the fuse that lights into the Pacers being able to play with that pace because they get out in transition due to the defense that Andrew Nembhard deploys. And that was the case against the Cavs.
Cavs crowd playing in Cleveland. Those rims came straight from Indianapolis, though.
Imported?
Those were rolled rims for the home team.
Did they get stuck in a port?
I don't know where the Cleveland Cavaliers rims were, but they had wide open shots that were just rimming out, that were just shots that you expect to be missed on an away rim. And that's the difference in the game. Difference in the game is both teams got tremendously wide open threes.
Mm-hmm.
The Pacers made theirs. The Cavs didn't. I think that I saw somebody send out the tweet. I think 30 of the Pacers threes were either wide open or open. They were 5 for 5 from open threes. They were 13 for 25 from wide open threes. Wide hell open, like booty buck naked open. You look like an elite 3-point shooter if your wide open threes are the ways that the Cavs were giving up wide open threes. So the Cavs they've got to make them.
Yeah.
They've got to make their wide open threes. And this is a Cavs team who has been so good on the perimeter defense, not giving up wide ass open threes. Close them ass open threes a little bit, man. That's a difference. That was a thing to me. It was like, oh, here goes another wide open three. Cavs go on a run. Cavs get the lead. It feels like it's all over. The Cavalanche has started. Up, wide open three allowed. Just Obi Toppin, wide open three. Nembhard, wide open three. Somebody's got a wide open three out there. They're going to knock Miles Turner wide the hell open.
Benedict Mathurin, wide open three.
Wide open. My God, get out there and get a hand up.
That's the thing.
Everybody in the league has the guys to hit wide open.
I watched a team this year that struggled to hit wide open.
I mean, they could hit wide. Luke Kennard, if Luke Kennard is left wide open, he'll shoot it. He'll shoot wide open.
I don't know.
He doesn't shoot open. He'll shoot wide ass open, though.
Okay.
He'll shoot that.
What do you think about the Nuggets odds against the Thunder? You've been high on the Nuggets.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
I think that the Nuggets are a team that will be more physical, a bit more savvy as well. And the Grizzlies wanted to go up and down. The Thunder are fine with going up and down. Thunder are a tremendous team, don't get me wrong. But when the Nuggets decide, okay, we don't want to go up and down, we'll just give it to Jokic, stop them. I'm not sure the Thunder have anybody who can make what the Nuggets want to do uncomfortable. That two-man game with Jokic and Jamal Murray is going to put whoever you want on the Thunder in a torture chamber. I guess Dort starts off on Murray, and I guess you put Hartenstein on Jokic?
Yeah.
Do you put Chet on
but
Jokic?
It's probably Hartenstein. Whatever it is, it's such an easier matchup for him. He got through Zubats. And now you get either Chet or Hyard.
What are you doing on the bench?
That's the...
All right, so one of those dudes has to come in at some point, and they'll be having to deal with that big-ass polar bear who bounces a basketball. What are they supposed to do with that. I love the Nuggets in 6 in this series.
In 6?
In 6, yeah.
I just think the depth of that Thunder team and the freshness, I guess that can work both ways. You've been sitting at home on your butt eating bonbons all week, watching everybody else have to fight to the death to make it through the first round. But I got sucked into that thinking going into the Grizzlies game 1 win after the Thunder obviously didn't have to play in any play-in games. Grizzlies had the 2, one against the Warriors, the other against the Mavs, turnaround Friday, Sunday. And I watched that Thunder team who spent their day before at a birthday party. Like just casually dressing up like cowboys at SGA's son's birthday party and then come out and beat the Grizzlies by 51. The Nuggets are not the Grizzlies, but I will be very interested if the Thunder are able to affirm their status as, like this Thunder team does have the juice.
Can't get too high or too low
Yeah.
in a 7-game series. So you're probably going to take a loss here or there. It's not all going to be sweeps by 50-plus points. I think that the Nuggets are better built to handle the Thunder going out there and looking amazing in a game or two, where it won't mess them up mentally and they don't start pressing and they won't back down. I think that also the front court for the Nuggets, I think it matches up way better against this Thunder team than other teams, because you've got the athleticism of an Aaron Gordon who can go by you and be a legit lob threat, even though Chet is back there really, really tall, really, really long, agile as well. Aaron Gordon can just go up over him to finish. I think he can also cave his chest in. Chet still has some of that grown man muscle strength that he needs to put on. I think they go out there and that the front court specifically goes out there and not manhandles, but looks dominant against the Thunder
success.
front court. Yeah.
It's going to be the first ever Thunder blackout in OKC. And they wear the damn T-shirt. They put the T-shirt on. But I will say the Nuggets had to be baptized by the wall fire. They even brought the wall to Denver. Yeah. That was crazy. That Steve Ballmer bought the tickets, and from what I understand, those are like primo real estate for Nuggets fans. So to get those tickets, the price of them had to be insane. Flies these Clippers fans from LA to Denver for Game 7. I think provided the transportation. I don't know if he did lodging. That feels like a lot, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did it, to create a mini wall of Clippers fans. Like, man, Steve Ballmer, he is spending his money in the way that he wants to, and I do enjoy watching him. I won't call it reckless because he has billions and billions of dollars, so he has money that he can spend, but what a fun way to spend
Way
it.
better than sending Katy Perry to space.
Way better. And Gayle King. We got to stop exclusively putting the blame on Katy Perry. The whole women crew.
Way better than sending
And
Gayle
Bezos'
King.
girlfriend.
Girlfriend?
Wife?
Ex-wife?
Girlfriend. I get them confused.
I don't know anybody's names on there
Me
other
neither,
than Gayle
but I
King
think-
and Katy Perry.
I think
So
it's
like, that's why Katy Perry's name was the first one that came up.
Katy Perry just can't stop taking.
Is she still going? No.
Well, it became like such an obvious the difference between the continued rise of Lady Gaga versus like the
because
fall
of the
of Katy
concert?
Perry. Yes,
Yeah.
the Lady Gaga concert in Brazil, largest attended concert of all
It was
time.
free.
So was the Madonna one, but we still count it.
Okay.
2 million people showed up.
I mean, it's free.
Oh, 2 million people showed up.
I understand, but it's free.
I see free stuff all the time that people turn down.
Do you see Katy Perry doing a free concert on the river? You turning it down?
I think people would turn it down at this
I
point.
didn't say people. I said you.
I would turn it down.
You're turning down a free Katy Perry concert.
I don't need to
On
see
the
what's
river.
being put out.
You live
I'd
two
go to Lady Gaga.
steps away
Okay,
from that
fine.
river. You're going to
Yes.
turn down a free Katy Perry
I didn't
concert.
realize it was this river. But if I was on
Is there
vacation
another
if
river?
I was on vacation in Brazil, I'd find other things to do maybe.
Okay.
I'd go. I won't lie.
It's a free Katy Perry
It's
concert.
still 2 million people.
Like, come on, man. Yes,
Anyway.
it's impressive. Lady Gaga.
How did we get back to God, I
don't
have
know.
to stop.
Did you see the bomb threat?
Yes, they
thwarted it.
Yeah. That's what we do with bomb threats. We stave off elimination, but we thwart bomb
thwart.
threats. We should stave off bomb threats.
No, because then there's always another threat of the bomb going off, right? Like that's the difference in staving and what do we do with bomb threats?
I got you. Thwart.
Like once you
thwart is an
thwart,
end.
it's over.
A stave
no
is
more
there's
money.
a continued
Yes.
threat in the
Yes.
future. You just staved it off for
we
this
get to
point in
continue
time.
for now. For now. Yeah.
How did we get to Katy Perry?
Balmer spending money.
Balmer spending money
Yeah.
on flying out. Yes, more of that, less of sending people erroneously to space and then they call themselves an astronaut. Yeah, it was cool to see. The other game today.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Did you tell me Thunder? Thunder. We
I'll
thought you
do
gave me
Thunder in 6.
Thunder in 6. Okay.
You've convinced me. Honestly, my heart tells me Thunder in 5, but you've convinced me that the Nuggets have a better opportunity ahead. And I will rest on Nikola Jokic is the key to everything. And the two-man game between Jokic and Jamal Murray, that stood out in Game 7. When they are clicking at that level, and we've seen it work, right? I have seen with my eyes this team win a championship with those two working at that rate, yes.
And an extra motivated Russ
And
going back home.
We get 2 of those.
Who's the other one?
We get Jimmy Butler back in Minnesota. But does it have the same? It's not the same because wasn't his issue with Kat? Like he thought Karl Anthony Towns was soft.
And
he's
wasn't
not there.
And he wasn't there long enough for it. Butler was
It's
there,
still a return.
3 seasons?
It didn't end well.
Like 2.5 seasons? Like 2.2 seasons?
It is crazy that we were either going to get Harden returns to OKC or Russ returns to OKC in a year where OKC is the presumed favorite to win it all.
We've gotten Harden back to OKC though, haven't we?
Yeah. So
Okay.
it wouldn't have been his first.
Yeah. I don't think we've gotten Russ back.
Motivated Russ.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that series to begin.
Timberwolves
And
and the other
I
joint.
appreciate it's 8:30 instead of 9.
Oh my God! I saw the times like
Makes
holy
the
hell.
world of a difference
I'm
on
gonna get
this
through. I'm
Cinco
gonna get
de
through the first
Mayo.
half.
Yeah, exactly. That makes my next morning so much easier. People don't get the other one tonight is Knicks Celtics.
Okay.
I'm just really struggling to get up for this one.
It's a playoff.
I know. I say that.
Throw
I'm
the
always
regular season
seeing
record
it
out
at
the window.
6 o'clock.
It's hard to beat a team
Throw
8
the-
times
but
in one
I
season.
can't rip my eyes out of my sockets and
Oedipus
say,
style.
I forget everything that I saw in that first round where they barely managed to get by.
That was a good first round series though.
It was a great first round series.
that
They were
was
playing
a-
the Pistons. It reminded me of the Congrats. How many wins did the Pistons have during the regular season?
almost as much as the Knicks. Like the Pistons didn't limp into that thing. The Pistons, that's a 4-5.
Yeah, there's a vast difference between
Did the
amount of
Pistons have
games
as
that
many
the Pistons
wins
won. The
as the
Pistons had
Grizzlies?
44 wins.
Like, hey, that's a 40-plus win team.
Okay. Can you do the math, please, for me? Can you get your
Go ahead.
calculator out?
Yep.
What's the difference between 61 and 44?
Oh, wow. That is a difference. It is one. 17.
Yeah, that's the Celtics.
You said, yeah. Are you sure it's 17? Did you
Yeah,
confirm
yeah.
it? Okay.
For whatever reason, I always think of 7-11, 7 plus 4
Yeah,
is 11.
yeah.
That's an easy one. And don't ask me why, but for some
Ah.
reason it makes sense in the head. It should be exciting to watch. All that's like, my brain has been on NBA playoffs overload, hyperload. So it's not like I was clamoring to watch more basketball yesterday. But you want to know what I did?
What you do?
I watched a WNBA preseason game, CJ. It felt sick. It did. It really did. Next thing I knew, though, I was watching the Indiana Fever play the Brazil national team at the University of Iowa, hosting the great Caitlin Clark back in that arena. The crowd was incredible. Sunday afternoon, Iowa City, 15,000 people were there to watch this game.
Did you have any doubt that that crowd would be incredible?
No, but there is something to be said about, it's just a reminder that it's everything. This was her first shot of the game. Logo 3. No place like home. Keep it comfortable. Like, Caitlin Clark continues to be one of the greatest shows in sports. From the Caitlin Clark. The point at Russo on the call, she's from the, if you don't know, that spot on the court is her number 22, and that is where she had the shot that broke the NCAA women's basketball scoring record. This play just shows how the Fever completely retooled their roster this offseason and now have a functioning rotation. Sophie Cunningham, one of those additions, DeWanna Bonner, another. But I do want to go back to the Caitlin Clark of it all, because the Caitlin Clark show is very real. And Caitlin Clark's ability to rise to the moment and put on a show is remarkable. This was a preseason game. Like, I'm not trying to make anything more of it, but from a standpoint of her coming back to Iowa, knowing the expectations that those fans had watching the Indiana Fever play the Brazil national team, not a lot of names on that Brazil team that people were going to be familiar with, not a built-in rivalry, not any other players from around the WNBA. Those fans came to see Caitlin Clark. And what does Caitlin Clark do? Pulls up from the logo for her first three, and then ultimately her last three of the game is the one right behind her number 22 logo on the court. Like, she is that girl. I am so excited to watch this season of the WNBA and this iteration of the Indiana Fever. But, like, it just reminded me instantaneously, Caitlin Clark is must-watch TV, and she's back. Like, if she's playing on national television, guess what?
Gonna watch.
I'm going to watch it.
Easy. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Crazy.
Not gonna watch preseason anything, but yes, everything you said.
Chris
is
did
true.
say it felt a little masochistic to
Yeah,
watch
it's
them just beat the living hell out of Brazil.
I mean, we make basketball players over here. They don't. That's on them.
They were so sweet. They were like asking for her autograph after
course
the game,
they
and they were
were.
asking to do TikToks with her. And the coach said, like, I've never played in front of this many people before. It was very sweet.
The dream team had that.
Yeah.
Where they walk off the court and dude's like, oh wait, Mike, Magic, Bird, rest of you, let me get an autograph. Let me take a Polaroid. I want to remember this moment forever. She's ascended to that type of status. Not nearly as accomplished professionally yet as what some of those men were on that dream team roster, but she's getting there.
Yeah.
And I'm done doubting Caitlin Clark. That's all I'm gonna say. So if you ask me right now to give you my predictions on WNBA, I'd have to throw the Fever in there as legitimate title chasers.
Yes.
Because Caitlin Clark has exceeded ridiculous expectations at every single turn. At every single turn when she's gone out there, she has exceeded the expectations. They are another year more mature physically and mentally. Leah Boston's still running around out there. Cunningham is mixing it up in the preseason as well. Like, they've got dudettes on that roster. Listen, man, I just can't wait to watch it. It's going to be incredible. I know it is. This WNBA season is going to be fun.
The Sophie Cunningham upgrade from Nalissa Smith is huge. The Dewana Bonner upgrade from Katie Lou Samuelson is huge. Like, you have an actual rotation now where I think the broadcast crew was talking about it. Last year, the Fever were just piecemealing it together around Caitlin Clark and Boston, and, however much they could contribute was great, but it's not like you could make rotation adjustments. Now they have options for the 5-woman rotation that they throw out based on different matchups that they get. And you saw that clip that we showed, like the ball movement. We never saw that ball movement from the Fever last season. And now you're getting it in a preseason game against a Brazil team that also was tired because that Brazil team played the Chicago Sky two nights before, and they had to get on a plane and everything that goes into it. But still, it did get me excited for the W season. And you're right, Sophie Cunningham was mixing it up with Kiki Fearon, my USC Trojan who plays for the Washington Mystics. We got our first WNBA meme of the year, which is just Kiki giving a little smile after this moment in which she wasn't backing down to Sophie Cunningham. Look at her face. It's my favorite part. Just a casual smile. Just a casual little smile from Kiki Fearon right there. We actually got 2 memes. I don't want to spread the drama, the gossip, but the big conversation on the WNBA socials over the weekend was there was this interaction between Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo. Did you see this? In the tunnel. And people are trying to read their words to each other and what they were saying, but ultimately, a security guard had to step in. It was crazy.
What, Olivia Miles?
And Hannah Hidalgo, former Notre Dame teammates. No longer Notre Dame teammates.
But they're still in college.
Yes.
So they were just there watching the game and ran into
They were
one
supporting
another?
one of their former teammates.
Got you.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, let me tell you some things about yourself?
Yes.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Where is Miles at now? I remember
TCU.
TCU. There we go. Thank you.
And
I appreciate
Hidalgo's
it.
still at Notre Dame.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody else is leaving.
Literally. All right.
What's up with the Valkyrie?
Devastated.
Oh.
The Valkyries waived Cheyenne Sellers, who was their 17th pick in the draft this year. She played at Maryland. One of my favorite players. I wanted the Valkyries to take her with their first draft pick, who they ended up taking. Please don't ask me to pronounce. I'm learning in my Valkyries fandom the pronunciation, but an international player. And they end up getting Cheyenne Sellers. at 17, and there had been some questions about her health going into the WNBA draft process and coming out of college. But like her team, her dad, her sister, many people on social media have said throughout the week, she's healthy. She's completely healthy, which means the Valkyries just decided to move on from her. And it does create this, if you're new to the WNBA conversation, it can seem absolutely absurd that the 17th pick in this year's draft was waived before they even played their first preseason game. But this is what happens every single year. However, the point of expansion was so that this would happen less, or one of the many points of expansion. But I think it just clearly shows a need in the WNBA to expand rosters. Like that's the next step.
Well, you got to find the finances for it. Yeah, I'm sure she can. But this, we talk about it every single year after the WNBA draft. Like a fair number of these chicks who got drafted high and early, they aren't going to make rosters because it's just so much talent right now in the W. It's hard to stay on roster. What are they at now with teams? 15, 14? Something like that? There's wherever they are, they need three more.
13. It's 14. No, I'm sorry. It's 13 with the addition of the Valkyries, and then next year when Portland and Toronto get added, then we're up to 15.
There we go. Yeah. And so it's need about 5 more for all the talent. Yeah. There's a talent surplus right now in the W, and there aren't enough teams to fill the talent that is very clearly in women's college basketball and in women's hoops in general. So until they expand, you're going to have these moments, man, where somebody who's like, oh, yo, no, she's really good at basketball is just not in the W.
It just becomes a shocking kind of a situation. And
can it still be shocking when it happens all of the time in this league?
Yeah.
All of the time.
I guess people just thought that this would be different. And she does have a cult following, feels too aggressive. But there's a lot of people who are rooting for Shai Seller's success, myself being one of them. And so I hope that she finds somewhere, but it is a cutthroat league in
Maybe
the
somebody
WNBA.
pick her up.
Maybe. Okay, one quick Hot Mess Express story on our way out because time flies when you're doing a 2-hour show. Alicia Keys turned out how much money?
I'd divorce her.
This story cannot be real. Hot 97
her.
reported that Swizz Beats shared a moment when Alicia Keys turned down a $9 million offer for a 9-minute performance, choosing instead to spend quality time with him. According to Swizz, the company even handed her a blank check, but she declined without hesitation. He added that even if the offer had been $100 million, Alicia wouldn't have taken it. Nothing, he says, comes in front of their time together. You got to reevaluate your priorities, or this is just a testament. The people with the money have too much money. If you were ever getting to a place where you were turning down $9 million, $100 million?
$9 million for
9 minutes? That's $1 million a minute. I can do that math. That's simple math. Anyway, thanks for joining us on this fun-filled Monday. We will be back tomorrow. NBA action will continue. Mike Wallace will join us in studio. We'll get his take on the Grizzlies coaching hire, where things continue to go in this early offseason for Memphis. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Happy Cinco de Mayo. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.